Hello, welcome to the YouTube channel Professor R.J. Placone on Communication Excellence. Today I would like to talk about Donald Trump and leadership communication. I think generally as a teacher I've been a rather lenient grader. So as I try to assess Donald Trump, how effective has he been as a leader in his communication? I would like to be lenient. I want to be positive, but I have to assign a failing grade. And there are three reasons for this. When I consider his leadership communication up against what do we typically expect from our leaders? Secondly, how well does he translate complex problems? How well does he help educate the American public? And third, how effective is he as a leader to help us heal and move forward together? In all three of those areas, I think he's been lacking. Let's talk about the first. Just to remind you that, I've mentioned this before, that I really like, for it's around 40 years now, if not more, the research from Kouzes and Posner, and they focus on followers, and they fill out a questionnaire, list 7 attributes that you look for in someone that makes you want to follow that person. Over 60% of people will list these 4. People with integrity are honest, folks who are incompetent, folks who have forward thinking, and folks who are inspiring. By far, number one is the honesty, the integrity. About 88% of people list that in their 7. This is an area where Trump, I think, falls flat. You could be talking about statistics around labor statistics, revenue from tariffs. You could go back to the 2020 election when publicly he insisted it was rigged and he won and it was stolen from him. Very different from what he says privately. To most recently, when we look at the government shutdown, he talks about how the radical left, because they want to give free health care to illegal aliens, they've caused this crisis. That's a lie. So his rhetoric is characterized by exaggerations, half truths, and some outright lies. So even though a lot of people view Trump as their primary source of information, I worry about that because for me, it's very hard to view what he has to say with a certain confidence that, oh, I know that's true. I really believe what he says. And something like forward thinking, any speech he gives usually will have at least 6 references to Joe Biden, blaming him for something. And sometimes he's just so caught up in the past, he's not very forward thinking. Even the vendettas he has and the way he goes after people who have wronged him in the past, he seems unable to let go of the past, which means he probably isn't thinking about the future and sharing as much of that vision and their forward thinking as we would like to hear from our leaders. And during times of crisis, the murder of Charlie Kirk, we look for folks who want to bring us together, help heal the nation, talk about what we have in common and why certain kind of behaviors, no matter where they're coming from, are unacceptable. Yet, Donald Trump, he uh, he said immediately that it was the radical left and the language used by the radical left that caused this. There wasn't even a suspect or anyone that had been a person of interest at that point. So there's not an attempt to bridge difference. He says, he said it at Kirk's funeral, I hate my enemies, I don't extend olive branches. I don't wish them well. Usually for our leaders, again, we look for them to bridge. Donald Trump is the president of all of the United States, not just the red states. Yet he looks at this current shutdown as a golden opportunity to slash jobs, programs that are important to the Democrats or radical left, as he would say, and the blue states, forgetting that he's the president for all of the people. So when I look at these three things, what do we traditionally expect from our leaders, starting with the importance of integrity, honesty, through how is he translating complex ideas? As journalist H.L. Mencken once said, for any complex problem, there's a clear, simple, and wrong solution, because complex problems are challenging. They're detailed. We don't usually fully understand. We look to leaders to share information that we may not have so we could understand it better. Trump doesn't usually provide that. His narrative is usually the same. There are all these problems that were created by the radical left and Joe Biden, problems like we've never seen before. Thank goodness that I'm here, because I am now solving these problems at a rate that no one thought was possible. And now we're seeing unprecedented results because of me and all my work. It's the same narrative for virtually every problem. It's simple, it's fairly clear, and it's almost always wrong. And that during the times when we need leaders most, when there is political violence, when we have shutdowns, we need to bridge difference. We need to heal. We need to move forward together. I think Trump can do better. I think we should expect better. That's all today. I hope you found this useful, and I look forward to the next time we'll share some thoughts. Have a good day.